That's cool.
Are you hiding it? Are you sure? Where is it? Come on. You know you want it. Come here.
It's okay.
Kalani, be a good
I saw
dragon.
Rika at Infocon.
Be a good dragon.
See, here's the funny
Be a good dragon. Give me my
I saw a picture
phone.
of Sherbert last night, but I found Sherbert the day before on like registration day out of suit.
I saw Sherbert.
Oh, so you had it.
That's cool.
I met him out of suit. He's a
Cool.
and
I met
this,
Telegram.
this excited boy right here.
Minute.
This excited boy, T-Lark.
Uh-huh.
He's just such an excited person.
I was like, are you trying to say 1 minute?
Now, how does it move?
It's just part of the iPhone 7. Like it captures all your photos as a live, so it's a short clip.
Oh, okay.
When I first found that, my work phone, I had to take pictures on blinking. Yeah. And every time I could see it blinking, that's weird. And it's moving photos.
Interesting.
Good. I was shadowing T-Lark around for a while. I bumped into him 3 times yesterday. 3 times. Do you need your phone the whole time?
Yeah, just so I can get keep a track on time.
Twice out of suit and then twice in suit.
Pretty sure he's
Good time. Does ACC supposed to look all like all rough like this as well?
Because it's supposed to be like the scales. It was done that way on purpose.
Oh, okay.
She did that on purpose. That's an extra detail that she did.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Alright everyone, so we are going to get started. It is 11 o'clock now. I just want to say thank you all for coming. Yeah, she's fine. She'll wake up. Alright, so my name is Ruby. I've been in the furry fandom for almost 2 years now. Yeah, because of this one actually. And so I have been fursuiting ever since then. Like as soon as I joined the fandom, a month later I got my fursuit, my first fursuit, Ruby. And I love fursuiting. I've been going to a lot of conventions, but I've also done a lot of public fursuiting too. I've done anywhere from bowling meets to going to parks. I've been to, when I actually just moved back from Florida, and while I was in Florida, I joined a group called Agents of Mer, where we went around to like children's events, and we did a lot of animal rescue events down there too. So I've been doing a lot of public fursuiting. This is going to be a really informal panel, so if you guys have questions at any point at all, like feel free to just like shout them out, raise your hand, raise your paw, everything. So yeah, just ignore this one.
She's like,
You want to introduce yourself?
Have you ever gone through a drive-through and did a fursuit thing in the drive-through?
I have, apparently. This is Kalani, by the way. Dutch
Hi,
Angel
Kalani.
Dragon.
Uh-huh.
She's been doing a lot of fursuiting too. I actually started doing public fursuiting because of her, and suiting as well because of her too. She's been doing a lot. She goes to a lot of children's hospitals and a lot of events too. So, all right. So first things first, just by a show of hands, how many of you guys have ever done public fursuiting or just gone out like outside of an actual convention and done it? Okay, perfect. So perfect. Quite a few people. Awesome.
Yeah.
So, like I said, so first, a lot of questions that come up first is like, where can I find events for public fursuiting? And the question, that's kind of a hard question because because it's outside of a convention, there's really so much. There's a lot of stuff out there. Oh no, I hope it's okay. For me, what I like to do is, thank you, Kalani.
She's checking to make sure.
She's making sure it's okay. Is it okay, Kalani?
open it up. Oh, let's pull it out and see.
I was like, does it need a band-aid? She's a nurse dragon. It's all good. Woo! Thank you, Kalani. So where I find a lot of my events is actually Google. I'll actually just Google some, like, you know, animal rescue events, or go to, you know, children's events. And I'm gonna get into a little bit of charity fursuiting a little bit later. But Google is gonna be your best friend. Facebook too. I know I'm from Michigan, and the state of Michigan actually has a Michigan Fur Meets page where I can go and see. You all know about it. And they'll actually have people that just create groups, like, hey, you know, a bunch of us are going to go to this park. Like, that's public fursuiting, you know, just because it's not like this big, you know, organized thing. If you just get, and I'm going over this a little bit later, but just going to the park with a couple of friends, like, that's public fursuiting, and you're going to get a lot of the public when you suit there too. Telegram is another great place. If you just ask a couple of people on Telegram, hey, like, I'm going to be meeting here, do you want to come with me? Like, that also works as well too. Now, in terms of good fursuiting spots, and again, sorry if I kind of like look down at my paper. I am like making sure I hit all of my notes as well. Epitome, come sit up here.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was going from the brunch.
So,
I mean,
no one can see it. Bonnie.
Did you want me in suit?
Nope, you're totally fine, Epitome. This is Epitome as well. You can introduce yourself, Epitome.
I'm Epitome.
How long have you been doing public fursuiting?
Oh, since I first started fursuiting, and MFF was the first time I picked up my suit 3 years ago, so this 3 years about exactly. I started doing like charity work afterwards and doing stuff like sorry, I'm just waking up.
Yeah, have some more coffee.
I got my coffee.
She's my roommate. Nobody's awake in our room.
No one's awake. Like, I was the first one up.
They're not awake in our room either, so don't worry. You're good.
Alright, so like really good fursuiting spots is like a park. That's a really great kind of first spot, especially if you're first starting to go out there and doing public fursuiting. A park is great. First of all, there's it's a wide open space. You don't have to worry about cars. You don't have to worry about a lot of those object things that you can't see. It's a really great spot. Yes.
Little thing to interject with a park. You need to be mindful of your state's local laws regarding masks.
I was going to get into that too.
Sorry.
No, totally fine.
You have to be mindful of the local laws. There are laws where your face cannot be covered if you're in a public area. So be mindful of what those regulations are. Depending on what state you're in, county, etc., the rules and laws are different. It would be unfortunate if somebody did get in trouble while in suit, arrested, and they really don't care. They're looking out for safety. Especially the thing goes for malls. Some do fursuit events in malls because that is pre-approved. There's a lot of yellow tape you have to get through to go to a mall. And a lot of times at the mall, you can't go into the store in suit because for obvious reasons. Just be mindful of what your laws are before you do anything like that. Like, just pay attention and ask. Don't just assume you can, because it could end up very badly for you.
And that's actually like what I want to get into next. Like, parks are good, but you really want to stay away from like playgrounds, just because with parents and everything, that can be a little iffy. They see like this, like it's just. I would definitely stay away from playgrounds, banks, any of those big box stores, like housing banks. Any of the. I've had people ask though, like I've had people ask me like, oh, I'm gonna go suit at my bank, like just go in. I'm like, don't do that. Why would you do that? Right? Like, please don't go into a bank.
Do it with your stores.
A lot of those.
Have you done?
Well, I did that by accident. Well, I guess not necessarily by
How do
accident.
you walk into a liquor store by
Well,
accident?
okay, no. It was actually a few years ago at MFF, and we were making a liquor run. I thought, oh, just me, just kind of only, barely just starting. It's like, oh, this is kind of funny. We go in, but like, as soon like I stepped in, the cashier was like, you gotta take the head off. So I was like, just stop, take the head off, and went out and got my booze. So.
You want to be really careful, especially like big box stores like Walmart, things like that. I've known people who are like, oh, I'm just going to go to like PetSmart or Petco and Walmart with my fursuit on. That's not really a good idea. And I'll get into like fursuiting with animals a little bit later, but wherever you suit, no matter what, you want to make sure that you get permission. That's huge. Like just 5-second call can really save you hours of, explaining yourself to like local authorities. That has happened before. So just a quick phone call and say, hey, like, is this okay? Like, I am a costume character, and that's, again, what I'm going to go into next. Instead of saying, yes, I'm a furry and I'm going to like, I'm a furry and I want a suit, I would say, hey, like, I'm a costume character, raising awareness, or, just going out and having fun. Like, is it okay if I bring my costume to this place? Like, is that okay?
Never introduce yourself as a furry.
No.
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 And a costume character to everyone else outside this fandom.
Yes, like, and that's
freelance mascot.
Freelance mascot.
Yeah,
yes.
Freelance mascot, costume
told
character.
Uber driver last night that she's like, why are all these furry characters here? I'm like, it's a mascot contest for the Cleveland Browns.
Mascot pageant.
Mascot.
Never mind.
Mascot pageant.
I don't talk.
Mascot pageant.
But yeah, that's really important. You never want to like say like, yes, I am a furry. And the reason is not because you're like denying who you are or anything like that. It's not about that. It's just because we know what we do and we are familiar what happens at conventions and we know what we do, things like that. But for outsiders looking in, whenever they hear that word furry, it automatically kind of has like a negative connotation.
They've heard furry in the first place.
Yes, and that's true too. So you just want to be careful of those words. So whenever I go out, I always like say I'm a costume character or a freelance mascot. Yeah.
I just wanted to say that it's not necessarily because of the negative connotation. There's also a chance they just never have heard of furries at all.
That's true too. And because just like you said too, a lot of people don't know what a furry like.
And then they're gonna Google it.
And then it's all downhill from there.
Exactly.
Well, and there is a fear of the unknown, and a lot of people fear what's unknown to them, and so they see that out in a public area. They are a little bit fearful.
Yeah.
Because I know we had a situation at a local fur bowl where we actually had to change bowling alleys because enough people got afraid of this so-called unknown. We had permission from the bowling alley to go and suit and all that, but they had enough complaints that we had to switch, which wound up being better for us in the long run because we got more bowling out of it. But it's just, there is a fear, and people do fear the unknown.
And that's a really good point too. But yeah, and again, we'll have time to like go over more of this too later. But when you first do public fursuiting, it's really good, especially if you're a beginner, never to go out just like by yourself. You can, but it's really a good idea, to have a handler. Like that's first and foremost. You always want to make sure you have a buddy. The buddy system does wonders. And I will also too, not only will you have a handler, but I will also have maybe your friend has a suit, or your cousin's next door neighbors twice removed, they have a suit too. Like I would definitely just like get together with your local furs and have an event where you have at least 2 to 3 suitors and a couple of handlers as well too. Would you guys agree?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're shaking your head.
She poses everything that one says.
Right. And also too, a good thing about a handler is not only is it good to like just have someone there with you, but they can also look out for like dangerous obstacles, and we all like we don't want to have that happen. But in our fursuit heads, it's really hard to understand us and talk. And so, you might need to give an answer really quickly and, have someone understand you, and that handler can be there and say, oh, this is what we're doing, or, hey, this is what is happening right now. They can just be your eyes and ears when you're suiting. And again, that's everywhere. That's even at a convention, too.
Well, even like crossing the street where the person got bumped into
Did he get hit?
Somebody got hit the other day.
I saw like the ambulance and stuff there. I'm like, did he?
Somebody got
was
somebody
he
got
drunk,
hit the other day.
Or did he get hit? I was in my first suit, so I couldn't.
I think he was just by himself, and the car didn't see him and hit him. But
you didn't see the car, because
right, and that's
don't
where the
cross
handler
the street
is.
without a handler.
Like even like vision is like when you have
Take
really
the head
good
off.
vision. It's still really hard to see those obstacles. You never know. The sidewalk might incline or
a tree branch or something.
I was
Right.
gonna say, during Halloween this year, I did my first public suiting, and my mom was my handler, and we were with my 2 smaller siblings, and they're both small enough to where they are out of my peripheral, and I ended up tripping over my little brother knocking him into the ground, stumbling myself into a parked car, and so I ended up with bruised wrists because of that, because I was trying to catch myself.
Like, I remember I was at AnthroCon, and this was AnthroCon last year, and I did something I did not have a handler at AnthroCon last year. I just, was in suit, like, all the time. And at one point, I'm, like, lucky I wasn't kind of, like, just walking around. But I'm just, like, talking to, like, one of my friends, and someone else came in and said, oh, like, look down. And I looked down, did not see this, but it was a small child, like, right in front of me. Did not see this little 3-year-old right in front of me. So it's just good to have someone there to say, hey, look out, there's someone there, hey, blah, blah, blah. And I'm short, and I didn't see her. So.
You're the same height as me.
It's not only visual, though, because, like,
It's just like there's no.
I put on a head the other day and like the sleeves, because I partialed for my friend's other suit, and they're really worn it before. So like, first thing I saw was that it was hard to see, but I'm like, it's hot and I can't breathe. So like, you stuck a fan in the mouth. It's too closed anyway. They do need to edit it, but like then I go out and then I start doing dancing, and then they're like, okay, we need to get you some water, like.
They look out for you.
Yeah. But like,
And they know your
I
limits.
think you have to have somebody who knows who you are beforehand, because like I didn't tell them I was tired or thirsty, but they knew,
Because you get lost, but like time can kind of slip away while you're in suit, and your handler or like your friend or whoever can say like, hey, you've been in suit for like a good 20-30 minutes, like, why don't we take a break? Yes, Kalani.
You, also, don't anyone get used to this, I usually don't talk in the suit. Usually what you want to do too is have the handler, if they can fit the head, put it on, so they know what you see, kind of seeing through your eyes, so that way they can get an idea of what you see. I get not every head is universal. The Lemon Brat, is your head custom or is that a pre-made? Pre-made? Okay. So the Lemon Brat heads usually are pre-made unless they're custom. So those are easy, and they have a strap at the back where you can adjust it if you want to try the head on. Try on their head if they'll let you. Just kindly ask, can I try this on so I see what your vision looks like? Because not every head is engineered the same. Even the Lemon Brat eyes, some of them are different. Mine are big, huge, toony eyes. I can see pretty much everything. So generally speaking, usually I don't have a handler, but I mean, sometimes it's good to have her. I'm sorry, I don't want to assume pronoun her. No, he. Okay, sorry. I'm so sorry.
Gender.
He probably sees different than I would. So their frame of vision, yep, that one. So the frame of vision in that head is different than the next. So if you can put that on and you're going to be a handler, please do. It will help immensely for whomever you're handling. They'll thank you for it later. That way if they have a blind spot on this side, you probably want to pay more attention over here, wherever or whenever they're walking, or whenever they're going to stop, or they're going to bend down, or they're going to turn. So just so you're paying attention to those spots, and that way you can also aid in keeping them a little bit more safe. And then having hand signals too kind of helps, because some are silent suiters. I don't talk in the suit. I will make noises, but honestly, if I'm going to like dehydrate and pass out, if I'm going to squeak, they'll be like, oh, that's so cute. No, I'm dying. You don't understand. So
This is like my death curdle.
my death curdle. So, the death squeak. So make sure you have like a hand signal to let them know I need to get out now. And generally, do you mind if I? So generally, with that, when I'm public suiting, and I think I've done it a few times with you when we were at AC, if we're together and we're suiting, because we'll suit together occasionally, all three of us will. Like, these are 3 veterans up here that have done it for a while. We had one that was going to show, but he's actually staffing paneling or programming, so he couldn't be here. But one of the universal, does anyone know any of the universal hand signals in here? Can you raise your hand if you know them? If you don't, we can go over them. So we have a few.
Sign language or
1, 2, 3. No, just the signals.
The universal
the
basic
gestures
signals.
and all
The
that that you
gestures to
want
kind of
to
help
suit.
you in suit.
Yeah.
So, for the veterans, don't say it. Anyone guess what this might be?
take off the head?
Thank you.
Yep.
This is, I need to take my head off. So if I'm with either of them and I go like that, that means we need to find like a headless lounge or somewhere that's not as public to take the head off. Because, okay, we've all heard it, don't ruin the magic. If you're hot and you're in public and you really can't stand it, just take it off.
If your health and safety or someone else's health and safety is at risk, absolutely
Take it
ruin
off.
magic.
If somebody wants to get angry at you because you did that, then you can tell them that I said they can kick rocks with an open-toed shoe. Your health and safety comes first. You can replace a head, you cannot replace you. So just keep that in mind. Does anybody know what this might be? Nope.
I've never seen
I need
it.
assistance.
Yeah.
Yep.
I need help.
They do that at Disney World.
Yeah.
Whenever like there's something wrong with my
Yep.
suit.
Hand over eye. Hand.
I need help. So that's usually not a good one. That's usually I'm really having a problem. It's getting bad. So I'll only do that if it's really bad. And I haven't had to do it very often. I've only had to do it once. And luckily I partial, so that's not much to get out of on me. But when I full suit, it's going to be an issue. I usually let my handler know too where the zipper is, because some of them are hidden in the back. There's all this fur. And when you're trying to get them out, you're like, someone scruff. So if they know where the zipper is, that helps to kind of just unzip, take them out, and then let them cool down. What's another one? Oh, so I use a big gesture. Anyone know what this might be?
Water.
Water.
Water. I need a drink, or this. I need a drink.
You might want to be kind of careful with that one.
Yeah.
Why?
Well, you know, I mean,
I don't know what that means, so that's a later discussion.
Yes.
I'm a
This is an
dirty
AV
red
So I'll do the two-handed gesture for a big glass of water to say I need a drink. And then this one's obvious.
This one's hot.
Yeah.
It's like the universal, like that's the one I use the most, is because
Dying.
you get like a group of people that are like taking your picture and you're like, hot, gotta go.
Like usually for my handler too. If I tell like David is my handler for like all events, and if I'm like hot, like he knows, okay, like let's go. Like sorry, you know, like let's go, and he kind of gets me out of that area too.
That'll be like your get out of jail free golden ticket card if someone's being particularly obnoxious, which I've had this happen. It was Halloween and I public first up in Madison. We were in a hotel, just whatever, but it was still public and we went outside for a bit. There were these really drunk people that wanted a photo, and they just kind of, we got mobbed. It was me and my friend, he's a fox. He's a very cute little fox. We're just walking around. They're like, oh my God, Diana, get a picture. And we're like, oh God. So I looked at him and I'm like, what? And he was like, oh. So he kind of was like, oh, we got to go. And then we just kind of, you know, calmly left. But it's your good get out of jail free pass. But then some people will go, oh, that's cute. She's waving at herself. No, I'm hot. I want to get away
Who
from
the
her.
heck thinks that?
I've had someone think that, yeah.
Let's say I remember suiting around yesterday and I was trying to get through the registration line to the Headless Lounge and I couldn't, and I was fanning myself off like this. I was dying on the inside. I'm like, please can I get through? Please can I get through? And nobody was moving, and I'm just like, and one of the staff members saw I was doing this and parted the line for me, thankfully.
Yeah, like that's hard.
I was
Universal
literally like
sign.
this. I'm like, I am dying on the inside. Can I please get through this line?
Yeah, like in
another quick hand signal is kind of an older one that's not known as much, but like hands crossed, like across like this.
Oh yeah, I was just about to
That's
say.
like the universal distress. You know, if you see somebody doing that, then you know you need to get to them right now because they're having a problem, whether it's with their suit overheating or maybe
So it's
they're
just
having
that's
problems with
the other
somebody.
version of this, or
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
See, I
I'm
also
not
feel
sure if
like
they have subtle differences, like.
And those are just all like good signs to know when you're out with like each other, especially when you're doing public fursuiting. But there is no headless lounge. There is no like, okay, like I can just go here real quick. Like you want to make sure everyone knows those signs, so and everyone's paying attention, and you do have handlers that aren't in suit with you, so they can see when you're distressed. Did you have something to say?
I would say another good hand signal that I like to use is just like in case like a shake of the head isn't obvious enough, is like for a no is this.
Oh
Like,
yeah.
I had that like in AC. Like I would have like people like approach me like and ask me, I don't know, like really like absurd questions. Like after dark, I'm like, I'm just trying to get back to my hotel room. I'm just like, no.
I'll put my hands up like,
No, yeah, that one works too.
or I just turn around and walk away. I know that sounds rude, but if I'm trying to get to my room and I'm hot, I'm gonna keep walking. You know, I'm on a mission. I need to go. So don't feel like you're being rude if you're in public and you just keep walking. It's fine. If you're hot, you know your body better than anybody else does.
Just utilize the hand signals. I'm learning.
And that brings me to my next point of whenever you're doing public person, you want to make sure, and this goes without saying, is you want to make sure you bring water with you.
Yeah.
And make sure that it's room temperature water. Cold water can really like shock your system, especially when you're really hot and overheating. It's just not good for you. You want to make sure that you have enough bottles of water with you that your handler can use, but that it's room temperature too.
Yeah, and the reason that they recommend room temperature instead of cold is I had this happen. I was first sitting at an anime convention. It was really hot, and I just kept chugging cold water all the time, and I had the worst dehydration headache afterwards because it takes about 15 minutes for your body to warm up that cold water to body temperature to use. And if you're drinking too much cold water that quickly, it's just going to go into shock, and it'll just send it right through. It won't even. You'll just have to go to the bathroom, and you'll be dehydrated afterwards. So.
Oh, yeah, and that actually, he has one too.
Camelback.
Camelbacks are amazing. I have one. I don't have it with me, but camelbacks are really good just because it's a way to get water quickly to you as well too. And they're actually like $20, $25 at Walmart. Like I got mine for like $25 at Walmart.
Yours is off-brand, that's why.
But it's still
It's still
Yours is
works.
off-brand.
I'm just saying, it's like
Water has a straw. That's really all you need.
I don't even have one, so.
I have one.
And I guess the Camelback has got a long enough straw you can stick it in your headset.
Yeah, you
So-
can actually stick it in your suit.
The Camelback, I have a Camelback, so I had an off-brand one. They just didn't last as long because I used it so much, it just broke. It happens. It happens. I splurged a little, got a Camelback. I also found with some of the ones at Walmart, the straws were not long enough. So I got one and it was perfect length, and then the other one was too short. So it missed my mouth by like 2 inches. I'm like, this doesn't help me. But the Camelbacks or the hydration packs are amazing because what I also do to kind of, because at a convention you're in basically a germ cesspool. We all know this. I get the Mio enhancers with the electrolytes.
I was just to say that.
Dump it into the Camelback a little bit, and then it helps you out so nice. Or if you're like you like to get that drink at night, you put the Pedialyte in there too.
Just a little bit though. It has sugar in it, and now you can't really clean out those bladders too well.
You can with the Camelback cleaner if you have it. It just takes a very long time. But it's worth it if it means that you're going to be a little bit more hydrated and have your electrolytes up.
And where do you get the Neo enhancers?
The Mio, you can get those at like Walmart.
Yeah, they're like little
it's like a little bottle,
bottles.
and it's like little drops.
No, I don't have. I brought some
And
with
where,
me.
where are they at? Are they in
You can
like
get them the same aisle as the Kool-Aid.
Sports
It's
drink.
like
Kool-Aid
Kool-Aid.
and
Yeah,
lemon
They're
pack.
just like
Stuff
this
like that.
big. I like them. I've got the electrolyte kind, and it's like this big, but it's a lot better than like having to carry around like a whole thing of Gatorade. I like it so like if I go into the fursuit lounge, I can like rip my head off. I have my little thing from my bag, and I just put a couple drops in my water, and then
There you go.
There you go, and it helps. It helps a lot.
And it's especially good, especially when you're out like, at a park or, or bowling meet or something. They don't have like hydration stations, so it's nice to just kind of like, get hydrated a little bit too. So kind of more into like just the public, now that we've kind of covered fursuit safety, more into like public fursuiting in general. One of the most important things is that it's public fursuiting. So you really have to be prepared for questions, and pictures. That's two of the really big things when it comes to public fursuiting is questions and pictures. You're going to get a lot of questions like, what are you? Like, what are you doing? What is this? And you're going to get comments. You're going to get good comments as well as like bad comments. Like I've been out in public doing public fursuiting at like I was at a putt-putt golf place like a couple of like about a year ago, and I got really great comments. It was like, oh wow, this is so cool, like this is so unique. And then I got like another comment that was not so good because, and again, like you're with the public, so kind of what I forgot someone was saying earlier is that like they don't understand like what you're doing, and that this is like your baby. This is a character that you designed or made or bought or whatever. No matter what, like it's your character.
Or people don't understand what you are. I get that a lot. In fandom area, please tell me somebody knows what I am. I'm a Dutch Angel Dragon.
Yeah.
Yes.
In fandom area,
Oh gosh.
everybody gets it. Outside of that, they're like, what are you supposed to be, a dinosaur?
Yeah,
Just tell them you're a dragon.
I've done that, but they're like, you don't look like any dragon in a book. Dragons aren't that color. I'm like, have you seen Barney?
Have you seen Barney?
I'm dragging as well, so I feel your pain. It doesn't matter. We're all encompassing.
And the thing is that you'll also get, I'm also a husky. I'll get, oh look, a squirrel.
Does a squirrel have
I should hold a sign that says, did you just assume my species?
It was actually funny. Like at one event I went to, so I also have a Dutch Angel Dragon suit that's like red. Well, you're right, but it's resin based, so it had like really hard horn, and she was like bright red, like all red. And I had this one lady come up to me, and she's just like, are you like cosplaying as the devil? Huh? I'm like,
Yes, if
what?
the devil was a Dutch angel dragon, this is what it would look like.
Like, no, so then, like, it's
devil.
just comments like that. You have to, like,
Devil dragon.
explain, like, you know, what you're doing.
Are you the devil?
On Halloween, this was about a year and a half ago, I had my husky on, and about a year ago. I'm sitting on the porch, this lady comes up with her kids, there's like 5 of them. And she walks up, and I hear them walking, and she goes to her kid, go take a picture with Chuck E. Cheese. And I instantly, they walk up, and I was like, you guys aren't getting any candy. Next. So I didn't give them any. I was like, do I look like a mouse to you?
And, like, we say this, like, because it's funny, but, like, you know, we're saying to make you guys laugh, but, like, when you're out and doing shooting, like, you have to, like, you know, go in there with, like, a sense of humor. Like, you can't get offended if someone or, you know, a child or something doesn't know who you are or what you are. You can't get offended. The reason why you're doing public fursuiting, at least for me at least, and I don't know about anyone else in the room, but it's because I love shooting, but it's B, because I like educating people, and I like, you know, kind of changing those, you know, stereotypes or anything like that. I like doing it, and I like people to come up and ask questions and see, like, what we're all about too. And so it's all about educating the public about you know, what you're doing. And like I said, you know, people don't know, like, who you are or what you are, and that's some of the most most common questions are like, what are you, like, what are you doing right now? And if you're a suitor that maybe doesn't talk, that's another reason why a handler comes in handy, because they can really explain to someone, like, you know, okay, this is what they are, blah 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 blah. You know, and we already kind of talked about it, but, like, again, we already said it, but I would definitely stay away from that furry term, because, you know, a lot of people are right. You know, they don't know what a furry is. So, you know, I'm a freelance mascot, or this. Even for me, I like to say, like, oh, this is a character that, like, I designed, you know, something like that, just so they understand, they can get on that same level with you.
I'll even relate it to cosplaying, because some parents understand that because their kids do it. So I just say, oh, this is my version of cosplay. You know, it's more customized.
Just those, you know, the words that everyone can use.
Avoid the buzzwords.
Now, when you find an area, so say, you know, you have a group of your friends, there's going to be about 5 of you going out to suit, 2 suitors, 3 people, and you found the perfect place. Before you suit there, I would survey the area. See if there's, like, mud on the ground, or, you know, if there's uneven, if, like, the ground is uneven. Just know where you're suiting. Also know where there's areas that you can, like, maybe de-suit and take your head off. You want to make sure that, you know, the area has somewhere, or that there's a space where you can maybe, you know, de-suit, take your head off, get some fresh air, you know, get yourself in front of a fan. Before you just go out and suit, you want to make sure that you're familiar with the area. You just don't want any surprises.
Yeah, like what I was at, well, Connie, you were there too, it was 2 years ago at the, that picnic out in St. Clair. And
Furry barbecue.
Furry barbecue, and there was goose poop all over the grass.
Oh.
You want to look out for that.
Look out for that.
Rip.
Did someone ruin their feet paws because of that?
It wouldn't, not me. Well, I had, like, outdoor paws and, like, the shoes, so, like, if I had any on there, like, I was able to, like, wipe it off with, like, disinfecting wipes and stuff afterwards, but, like, it was kind of a pain to try to avoid that while not being able
How much
to
a fursuit cost? I would have used my bare feet. Straight up. Taking my paws off.
So you, like, you know, you just want to make sure that they're looking out for stuff like that wherever you go. So when you're out in public, like I said earlier, I should have probably said this while I was talking about it, you're going to get the public, and so you're going to get a lot of interactions with people. You know, let people come up to you. Never go out and be like, hi, how are you today? I'm a, you know, costume mascot. What's your, like, you don't want to do that. Like, don't do that. Just kind of let people take your time. Like, let people come to you and suit. Don't go out there and say, hey, you, sir, I'm going to explain what my hobby is to you right now, even though you didn't ask for it.
And you're going to like it. I'm going to hug you and you're going to want it.
Don't do that. Let people kind of approach you, because again, it's people. You know, people don't understand.
Distance is your friend.
Right? Yeah. Like, let people kind of approach you. And also never go up, this goes without saying, like never approach children and animals. Like don't do that. Like never go up to a child and say, child, I'm fuzzy, come to me and give me a hug. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's sketchy.
Right.
That's sketchy. Like we've already got like those headlines going around and people be like, oh, it's one of those guys.
That's
Right.
Because a fursuiter came up to me. That's how I became like. So originally, I used to hate furries, like growing up, and then I went on to play, and then I'm like, furries aren't so bad. So I went to a large gathering in the North Carolina area, and I didn't have any food, and it was a picnic. So I'm like, I'm just gonna go down there real quick, grab some food, go back up, because I was just watching over them, make sure nobody was gonna hurt them or anything. So I like go down there, and as soon as I get about to grab some food, I see a fursuiter for the first time, like close up in my life, and they're like, hi. I'm like. And then she comes up to me, hugs me, like takes me around, introduces me to everybody, and then like I've stuck ever since. So.
You just want to be careful with that. Like there's no like whenever I'm like especially at Anthrocon when you're like walking like back. For me, I never get main hotel. I've tried, but like so I'm walking back to my hotel and Anthrocon. I don't know if anyone has gone to Anthrocon, but it's right in the middle of downtown Pittsburgh, and you are surrounded by like bars and restaurants with like the public, people going to work, and so you always get stopped and have like people kind of look at you. I always like wave and say hi, like hi, and it puts a smile on their face. Like there's nothing wrong with
I
that.
saw a lady. I was driving. I was taking a shuttle to my hotel. There was this lady in the car next to us. And we were a little ways out from this hotel, and we were driving past, and she double takes because it was free walking on the road. She's like, and she starts laughing her head off. And then she turns her head to the left, and I'm right here like. She's like, she just
like there's nothing wrong with that. Just saying like, hey, like
I may or may not have caused a small fender bender in my suit.
Okay.
All right.
Story time.
I was
We'll get to your
walking
question.
down the street. Where was I? This was at MCFC. Where the fuck was I? Hold on.
Some generic recon.
No.
All the
Oh, no.
memories
I was
blend
at
together.
Yomicon. I was at Yomicon in downtown Detroit and walking, down by the GM waterfront. This guy's driving along in a van and he's got his windows down. He's like, what the hell is that? And then he just kind of hit the guy in front of him. I was like, and I just stood there and I did the whole surprise of,
Were you in Kalani?
I was in this suit. And I just kind of did well, I was staying in character because I'm out. And I'm like, I just kind of walked away. I just I'm like, what's me?
Car accident.
Well, I didn't, and to be fair, if they asked for a witness, like, well, I didn't see too much. All I did was hear it. And I looked and I was like, ooh.
Now I feel bad for the guy. I swear I saw a purple dragon.
You're like, I
Breathe into this.
swear.
Breathe into this.
We need to have you walk this
She had flowers in her hair. There was a purple dragon.
purple dragon.
Sir, we're gonna need to take you in for questioning.
And we might have to have you mentally evaluated.
Yeah. Well, thank you.
You do forget to take any medication, sir.
You had a question over there?
Yeah. So I think it was relating back to the. What was it? Oh yeah, it was the small children thing. So at Halloween, I would stay near my family and all that because we had a big family group just going around taking my cousins, my siblings out trick or treating and all that. And so what I would do is I would kind of stand there and then in the darkening night I would like wave at small children, and if their parents waved back and they started bringing them over, then I'm like, okay,
yeah, then you can like walk.
And then there was this one person who the parents came over and brought the kid over. The kid wanted nothing to do with me.
Oh my
and started screaming at the top of their lungs. I'm just like, oh, I don't know what to do. What have I done wrong? Oh no.
And that's
so I started trying to
actually
act cute, hoping to
I've got a story to go on with that one too. Oh my gosh.
Good.
Kid just kept screaming. The parents apologized for it. So.
Did you write that yourself?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so Halloween last year, it was my first time, and I wore epi as I was answering the door for candy, and I answer the door, and there's his mom, and she's got like 2 small kids. She's got like one who's like 3 or 4, and another one's like an infant, maybe.
Oh, no.
And they open the door, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, guys, look! It's like Disney World or something." And then she proceeds to she wanted me a picture with her me holding her baby.
Oh,
and I've got puffy paws, okay? Like I can't like pick up a phone. And I'm like, I can't. And she's shoving this baby at me, and the baby is screaming and traumatized.
Just being shoved into
I'm like, and just
That's
Don't
my next
hold
point
babies.
on my
Is that your
paper.
next
Universal
Don't
symbol
hold
for no.
someone's kid.
No.
I wrote that.
Don't want it.
Don't hold
Don't
someone's kid. That's where that hand signal.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will say this because I've done like aside from doing the whole furry thing, I've been an Easter bunny for the past 5 years, and I will say this: you definitely get used to crying if you're an Easter bunny, but
Why?
when you're
Small children.
yeah, far away, Easter bunny looks great. Right up front, Easter bunny is terrifying. But I will say this: since I assume most of you guys are doing this, and most of your opportunities obviously aren't going to be paid. So if you do get paid opportunities, like being an Easter bunny, or someone's paying you to promote something.
There's a reindeer here.
Well, while you are out and about representing yourself, you are not obligated to take anyone's child. You're not obligated to do any of this stuff, whatever you're comfortable with. That being said, if you do get an Easter bunny set, I've had to hold infants many a time. One time, I think I had to hold 6-week-old twins at the same time. And this is how you do it. What you're going to do, you're going to make the cradle with your arms. The parent will put the child into your hands. They'll take the picture. They take the child out. Do not, under any circumstances, reach for the child yourself, because last thing anybody wants is for you to drop a baby.
Or just don't hold the baby.
Yeah, but I mean, this is there are
If you have to do it,
where you might have to do it.
She's saying in a paid situation.
Oh,
where you
I'm
actually
sorry.
part of
I
my
can't
job.
do it very well in the
And I'm also
sorry.
sitting down while I'm doing that. So
That's important.
So it's like,
yeah,
I don't know.
the twins were hard, but I made it work. So.
Yeah, I mean, then odds are you didn't have like the puffy paws
Well,
cotton
the funny thing is, the Easter bunny paws that I had, all the fingers were sewn together, so I literally had this glove and a thumb to work with.
I guess I gotta skip the
That's
next
even
panel
worse.
of juggling babies
Okay,
and
so
fursuits.
yes.
Yeah,
Another
we missed
thing
that panel.
about babies.
Not true.
For people that have never had children, babies are a ticking time bomb of bodily movements and bodily fluids.
Yeah.
And if one of them does that on your costume, there's no way you're going to get any compensation from a parent. They're just going to be like, oh, sorry, take your baby back and leave, and then you're left with
A mess.
a mess on your very expensive fursuit. So I always just, no, I don't want to hold the baby.
Yeah.
This will sound so terrible, and I'm sorry. I don't do events with kids because, plain and simple, this is $1,400 I'm wearing.
Yeah.
You scritch this and ruin it, we're gonna have a problem.
Yeah.
So, and parents, and a lot of times parents don't care. They're just like, oh, sorry, and they just leave.
Alright, I don't actually scritch fursuits.
No.
But the kids don't know that.
Yeah.
So kids will walk up.
They see this brightly colored animal, like a plush that has come to life.
So I'll do anything else, but I tend to avoid kids. Not because I don't like them. I work with them every day. But the fact of the matter is, it's expensive. It's not easy for me to get it repaired by makers in Pennsylvania. It's not like she's local.
Right.
So it's hard. My other maker, Lemon Brat, is local. They're in Chicago. I can drive it up to them and be like, can you fix this? Fine. But in other cases, like for me, I avoid it because I get so worried, like I just don't want to deal with it. And it's not because I don't like kids, love them, but in that respect, I'm just kind of like, you can take a photo with me, just don't really touch anything else. It's like a museum, no looky, no touchy.
Yeah.
I mean, like I had to have my head repaired twice from kids. One time was I was shooting downtown Grand Rapids at an art festival.
Art prize.
It was an art prize. It was the Festival of the Arts.
Oh, Festival of Arts, yeah.
And you were with me when I discovered the first scritch on the side.
Oh yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And I ended up getting it fixed at MFF later down the line because my first maker was here. And then again a couple of weeks ago, I was shooting in Lansing for a fundraiser for the Humane Society. And as I'm packing up my suit, I'm zipping up my suitcase and I'm seeing the last bit of Epi's head disappear in this backpack. And I see this nickel size, just the backing, the white backing, just bald spot.
Oh.
And I was freaking out. And so I'm calling up my maker and I'm like, hey, are you gonna be here? I'm like, I've got some scrap fur that you gave me. I'm like, do you think I could go up to your room? Will you have your equipment with you? Can you fix her? And fortunately she did, but you can't always count on that. And I don't know, I bought Epi 3 years ago from her, so I'm like, would she still be willing to do repairs for me? I'm like, how much you want me to pay you? I don't know, but
And along the kid idea, you know, they love to pull on tails, and it don't take much to pull a tail off of somebody.
And that's why it's also good to have a handler, because you can't look out for like who's like behind you or anything like that. So it's good to have your handler, especially in those situations, like right there, and say, hey, you know, like okay, like don't pull on the tail, like don't do this, and kind of like telling them how to behave around you.
Adults will do that too. It doesn't matter how no. So,
Drunk adults.
Oh, yeah. Adults will pull tails.
I've had more adults pull on my tails than
kids.
I've had
a drunk adult.
I've had an adult pull on my tail and I have a rowdy stub. So it doesn't matter how long it is. Like,
they'll pull on it.
Well, it was just a tug. It wasn't like a full-on rip, but it was just enough to startle me.
I had that. I had one of like the bowling meets. I had like some drunk lady like in the bar just like
oh gosh
on my tail. I'm like, fortunately it's like it's a belt tail, so you know it gave. But still, I'm just like, this tail itself is $60. Can you not?
Right, exactly.
So real quick too, I'm going to have questions at the end just because we are a little bit short on time, and I just want to like mention real quick charity fursuiting. So a good chunk of public fursuiting, a lot of people do is charity fursuiting, where they actually go to an event in their suit. So I just wanted to kind of touch on like how to kind of organize and plan one of those events. The first step is to plan for it. A good way is like what I do is I will say there a lot of good for fursuiters. A lot of good charities are events with like animals and things like that, like rescue, those like animal like rescue walks and things like that, where they have some where they're giving money to like an animal hospital or anything like that. Hello. And so I would definitely email that or whatever organization you find, like an art walk or anything like that, like just email them and say, hey, is it okay, you know, to bring my costume? In that email, I would, or a phone call, I would just like describe your costume. If it's an email, I would actually send a picture of your costume so they know what to expect when you get there. There's no surprises. And because you are at the event, make sure that your suit is like, you know, G-rated. No like crazy outlandish like things on your suit. No like outlandish or crazy things on your suit. You know, and make sure when you are talking to that organization, like sound professional, check for errors, things like that. You're like, hey, I got this suit. Like just like make sure you sound professional in that email. And also, be prepared for rejection, because there's going to be events where they're going to be like, you know what, like, no, that's, like, be prepared for rejection, like, that's okay. Find another event. Like, you are going to get a couple of no's. I've had no's before.
I have too.
Like, that's okay. You know, there's going to be events that say no. Don't let that discourage you. If an event says yes, once you have a yes from that event, one of the things that you want to do with that organization is make sure you talk about what's expected from you. So if an organization like a community walk, an event, anything like that, if they say, oh yeah, like you can come, ask what's going to be expected of you. Because again, you don't want to get to the event and then have them saying, oh yeah, well actually we want you to like, you know, dance around and have like a dance part or anything like that. You don't want any of those types of surprises, so you just want to make sure that you're covered, and also make sure you ask, can there be a place for me to change? And normally organizations will be like, oh yeah, you know, like we have this restroom or we'll have this office, or we'll have something for you, so you can go in and just have like an area where you can just relax and rest for a bit. Get there early, make sure you survey that area. I know I said that before, but just make sure if you get to the event, go to that area without your suit on, just so you know what you're getting yourself into. Meet the organizer, make sure you go find them and say, hey, you know, I'm so-and-so, you know, where can I change? Where is this? Where is there water provided? I have my own water. Anything like that, just make sure you ask those types of questions. And again, the same rules at like a park or anything. Not everyone will be receptive to your fursuiting, but kind of like take it with a grain of salt. I know for me, I was really nervous when I first did public fursuiting. Like I just, you know, everyone here knows that, like, you know, I'm a suitor and I'm having fun. But when you're out, you don't have that. And so just make sure you're just educating people, and don't get offended if someone's like, oh, like, this is weird. Like, no, actually, like, you know, I made this character. Explain who you are. You don't have to get into the nitty-gritty details, but just like a nice overview of like, this is who we are, this is what I do, this is why I like it. Just kind of answering some of those questions will be great for someone who might not be familiar with those with you. And if you have one negative experience, I promise you, I've done enough public first-ing to know that there's going to be 3 or 4 people that love you for every one person that doesn't. There's going to be like, you know, tons of people that are like, wow, this is great, for every one of those negative comments. So don't let a negative comment really discourage you. You got to keep going with it. Like, you're going to put smiles on people's faces.
True.
Or cause car accidents.
Or cause car accidents.
Yeah.
The good thing to remember is that when you are doing an event, you might be the only real live example of the furry fandom that a person sees.
Yes.
So if, I know we had an issue this past year with a group of us who decided to troll some protesters, and that really kind of put me off because I was elsewhere when that happened, and that's just, I mean, and where I live, we, you know, have a pretty good relationship with the public. You know, we have a very positive reception, and we don't want to do anything to ruin that. Yeah. So this not only goes to the suitors, but also to the handlers too, who might, you know, just try to decide to take things in their own hands. Just remember, you know, you might be the only example that they get to see in real life, and we want to leave that positive example.
And you can't kind of like, you know, say like, oh yeah, the public doesn't like us, blah, 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 but then when you're out in public, you're, you know, acting ridiculous, or, you know, like you can't have it both ways. Like when you're out in public, you just want to like make sure you're educating people. That's really the most important thing. And I'm sorry, you had a question this whole time. Did you have a question?
Yeah, on the day that my first maker made this hat, he wanted me to wear it and walk around his neighborhood with him to a deli store where he was hungry because and I visited him. He was in the heart of Chicago. I was walking around with my head on, trying it out, trying to see how it feels. And some people thought I was a dog or a German Shepherd, but I keep my dog on my back. And I turned my whistles out, and after the deli, there was this baby that was looking right at me. I thought maybe I was uninvited to go inside the store because that was in my head. But the owner, he actually liked my head.
Oh wow.
And
That's really nice.
This is his first time ever seeing my head. This is me.
Oh wow, so he has a picture with this guy and he's like all happy and everything, you know? That's so nice. That's cute.
That's when my eyes weren't done.
That's cute.
Aww.
You guys have anything else?
But when I walked in, the baby started crying and I was, I'm sorry. I felt like should I step out?
Does anyone else have any other like questions or concerns or anything like that?
One of the big things as well is like you have to know the area. So again, when I went to, you know, I'm stationed in North Carolina, so I went to the Triangle Herds, and they're like the third biggest group on like the meetups list.
Yeah.
So now they just went from Tarpaw to Anthrop Crossroads East. So now they have ACE, and you can go there over in Raleigh. It's like their first like big convention that they're having in like December or whatever. So it's really fun. I went to like their non-convention one. It was really fun. But that area, like Raleigh, when I went there to kind of like, because I'm a Marine, so all I really know how to do is, I'm not smart, I just know how to kind of like bend people a little bit. So like that's why I was like sitting up near like the tennis court. I was watching down over them, making sure that they didn't get hurt or harassed by anybody. And then luckily that first server did come and grab me. And I got introduced to everybody, and then I saw them go over and like basically entertain kids for like a little while, and I'm like, that's when I was like, how could I have ever hated these people? And I'm like, but like, so, you know, I go and, you know, I look around, and, you know, my friends tell me like this area of Raleigh is really accepting of the community. So, you know, in California, if you look at California, obviously they're going to be accepting. There's certain places that you go, you have to be careful of where you're public suiting, because maybe they're not going to be accepting people, or drunk people, obviously.
Time too. Like time of day is a good important thing.
I'm
When
going
you-
fursuiting
time
at
of day
2
is
a.m.
pursuing.
Like maybe don't fursuit down the street of your neighborhood in the middle of the night.
I've done
might be
that by
minus-
myself, though. That's a different story now.
So really quick,
I don't say that.
so a few of us do more like, we spread out with public fursuiting. We go to things that might not necessarily be a stereotypical con, so to speak. So some people go to like coding conventions if they're a coding person, programmer for work. Some of us go overseas and take our suits in public fursuit. I'm referring to a friend of mine who couldn't be on the panel today as he's staffing. He's actually very tall fox with a red mohawk. He does go a lot of places. I believe he's taken his suit to Paris, Rome maybe?
Oh, wow.
No, Paris, England. He just went to Kalahari and did a work convention, took the suit there. He's taken it to a lot of work events. He's done Fursuit Friday with his boss. They love it. I think it's amazing. He's on Twitter if you'd like to follow him. He's at MartiniSoft, and he does a lot of like outside of the fandom suiting, and he does a lot of it. He has a blast with it. I wish he could have been here, but he's totally awesome fox. He is on staff on programming, so let him know. Or I think he's AD paneling lead, but he is on staff. And I've always been jelly because he's got some cool pictures of him, I think in Paris or London, standing on the balcony, and he's got like the backdrop of like the town. It looks pretty awesome. But yeah, I mean, some of us go a little bit outside the box and go across the pond, and there's other things over there that you can have fun with. And
Like, don't limit yourself.
No, not at all.
You know, don't limit yourself on what you can do and where you can take your fursuit. Out of all of this, just like be smart about it. You know, like make sure that your safety is really important. But like, don't limit yourself. Like you really are like, you know, you're having fun with it. You're educating the public, but it's not so much about the public. It's also you having fun and doing what you love. That's a really huge part of it too.
I was going to say, our group last year and also today is doing a Christmas parade, and we got fursuiters in the Christmas parade. It was really well accepted last year, you know. Of course, this year I can't go because I'm here, you know. I'm in a much better place, but you know, they're doing that publicly. But I also noticed that there's a difference between, say, Pittsburgh and, say, this city. Pittsburgh's more accepting to the furries because I think the media and the radio and the TV really pump it out there versus, say, here. And also, you know, this city's a lot larger, and so people aren't near quite as open to it as they are there. I noticed that difference.
If you go more towards the city of Chicago, you'll get it's more accepting in the city.
Mm-hmm.
We're in the outskirts in the suburbs, so it's a little different. In Chicago, they're accepting of a lot of things.
Don't forget, you know your area.
of things.
Like know your area.
Like, to be fair, they're more accepting of puppies in Chicago. They're everywhere. It's a thing. They don't care, but it's Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the suburbs. They're like, ah! So,
They see you, they're just like, ah!
Or they hit a car.
Or the,
Yeah.
Or yeah, they'll wreck their car
They
and
hit
be
a
like, what
car.
the heck is
I
that?
still feel bad about that.
That's all there. Back there.
But I love what you say about being smart and planning ahead for public events. I'm from Phoenix. I'd just like to emphasize again, though, I've been suiting publicly for probably about a year. I've had very, very few negative reactions. I found I think, you know, it's a huge percentage more of positivity than I've ever got. Any bad reactions, and the bad reactions I've got tend to be more confusion than outright hostility there.
She's like,
No, like basically, like don't be nervous. Like I said, when I first did my first like public fursuiting event, like I was so nervous about it because I'm like, oh my god, like I'm going to a place where they're not going to understand me. Like I'm not with my people or my dogs, cats, wolves, foxes. Like I'm not with all of them. Right, like I'm not with my fur family. And I honestly had so much fun. People were wanting to take pictures, and I was waving to people and talking, and it was a blast. And after that, like I was hooked. And like I said, you know, I had it was a group of me and like 4 other suitors and, you know, a handful of handlers, and we just had a blast. and it was great. And we were just walking around, hanging out, having a pic. It was a lot of fun. So don't let the public, that word discourage you. Like, it's not a scary word. You can go out there, have fun, kick butt, take names. Don't kick the public's butt. That will, be bad in media. But, right? Figuratively.
Figuratively kick the butt.
Remember, Cleveland Brown mascot contest. Make that a thing. I want ESPN to be talking about that. It's like,
Apparently there was a mascot contest.
in Chicago for the Cleveland?
Like, who knew?
What's going on?
This is the hotel I'm staying at. There's still people, like, I'll come out and, like, half, like, without my head on, and then they'll see the badges and all, they'll be like, what's going on? I keep seeing people around in, like, these weird costumes and the badges. I'm like, oh yeah, there's a fur con going on over at the Hyatt, and they still just look at me like, what? At least
I had
so
to
many
see that.
shoes.
My
I'm
hotel
just like,
what I was saying a
it's
little
like
bit
it's
more.
like a convention
mascot
resort,
contest.
and it's over at the Hyatt.
It's actually funny. Like, my mom knows, like, I'm a furry, and
Everybody knows?
Your mother knows.
and so
Say it, say it.
Well,
Oh,
yes.
you're not alone. Mine does too.
my mom is still trying to, like, wrap her head over, like, oh yeah, like, and she's just like, she tells all her friends, like, it's not, like, weird for her. And so she was like on the phone with one of her friends as I was, like, packing for Midwest Fur Fest. She's like, yeah, my daughter, what did she say? She's like, yeah, my daughter's going to, like, she's going to the Fur Fest in the Midwest. I'm like, Mom, it's Midwest Fur Fest. Oh, she's just going to a fuzzy convention.
You have the fuzzy fandom now?
Wow!
You're the fuzzy fandom?
Okay, my mother, when we moved into our house and I was becoming a furry, she goes, I'll get pictures of you in your suit and I'll put them on the wall if you want.
I mean, sure.
Like, legit, she's like, yeah, I'll put them up if you want. I'm like, okay, I don't do anything else with my life, sure.
Is me,
It's like
Mom.
we come in, here's our family portrait. Oh, did you see my daughter? She's a dragon.
Actually, probably like my favorite, and you guys know this story. But, like,
I
my
would love that.
favorite story was when I was in Anthrocon, and our hotel was like way down by like the river. Like we stayed at the window. Yeah, it was awful. And I had just gotten this suit at Anthrocon, and so I had my first little badge. I was all happy, like, look at me, look at that. Yes, like I was so happy with my new badge, and I was coming out, and this mom and like her son, like not furry, didn't know what was going on, like come up to me, and she's like, oh honey, look, and she like grabs my badge and was like looking. She's like, oh, what's your name? And it's Charlotte, okay? And she's just like, Charlotte. Hey, honey, let's take a picture with Charlotte.
You still need that bag. Starbucks coffee cup. This is
So, like,
Charlotte.
now all my friends call me Charlotte.
I slay the dragon with the story instead of the
I think now this whole room's gonna refer to you as Charlotte.
Like, hey, Charlotte. Like, hey, guys. All right, that is all the time we have for today.
Dragon, good job.
Right, like, we killed the dragon.
Somebody watches Key and Peele.
Like, we killed our dragon. If you guys have any other questions too, like, feel free to add. You can add me on Telegram.
Oh, speaking of Key and Peele, who's seen the substitute teacher skit?
Yes. I mean,
Hey, Ron.
Charlotte.
Why didn't you answer me the first time I said it?
Yeah, Balake.
Balake.